Hi everyone. In 2019, a woman in Maui was sentenced 43 months of prison after pleading guilty to wire fraud. We Team 3 are presenting the fraud case of Kihana Nursery. In our team, we have Ethan, Jace, Mitchell, and me, Yuki. Well, let's get started. The suspect of this fraud was Selma Pascuasiat from Kahului, Maui. She worked as a bookkeeper for Kihana Nursery from 2004 to 2016 for 12 years. Pascuasiat was investigated by the FBI and prosecuted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Ken Sorensen. As a result of her embezzlement, she was found guilty and sentenced to 3 years and 7 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. These are the details of her embezzlement. Pascuasiat pleaded guilty to wire fraud for stealing more than $1.3 million from Kihei business. She misappropriated the company money for personal use. She made 291 payments, American Express credit card, for $1,120,328. 112 payments, Capital One credit card, for $127,549. She also made 33 mortgage payments for $65,753. Next, Jace is gonna talk about timeline of events.
Thank you, Yuki. So Thelma was hired as a professional bookkeeper for Kihana Nursery in 2004. She took a total of $1,313,631.75 from Kihana's bank accounts using her access to accounting software, checking and crediting accounts from 2008 to 2015. From December 2008 to October 2015, Thelma wrongfully converted funds of Kihana Nursery to make payments on an American Express card. She used approximately $1,120,328.32 for this purpose. From February 2015 to January 2016, Thelma used $127,549.93 of the nursery's funds to make payments on one of her Capital One credit cards. Lastly, from April 2013 to December 2015, Thelma used $65,753.50 of the nursery's funds to pay off the mortgage on her personal residence. She was terminated from the nursery in January 2016, and lawsuits brought up against her later in the year. On September 30th, 2019, the judge ordered Thelma to 3 years and 7 months in prison and another 3 years of supervised release. She was expected to begin her sentence on November 1st, 2019. So Kihana Nursery is located in Kihei, Hawaii, on South Kihei Road. It was founded in 1954 and incorporated in 1992. Kihana Nursery supplies plants, tropical plants, palm trees, fruit trees, irrigation piping, irrigation fittings, stepping stones, river rocks, cinder, manure, and fertilizer. Next, Mitchell will talk about the motives and how she embezzled all this money from Kihana Nursery.
Thank you, Jace. As the nursery owner said, Lewis Scott Walsh, he said she took the money to do her own stuff. She went on trips, she traveled places everywhere. She went out and treated to herself $1,000 dinners and buying herself $800 Louis Vuitton bags. She also used the money to pay off her and her husband's American Express and Capital One credit card debts. And she also made home mortgage payments with Citrus Inc. Now let's see how she did it. She falsified a business record to indicate money was being used to pay legitimate company expenses, but she instead used it for personal debts, among other things. She had access to the nurses' commercial bank accounts, their funds, their business credit cards, their computers, and their QuickBooks. And when the business started to struggle financially, the owner thought the problem was due to the 2008 recession. Now I'm going to give you the Ethan, he's going to give you the solution.
Thank you, Mitchell. I'm going to talk about the internal control principles violated. You can find these principles in chapter 7 of the textbook, and the 3 that were violated include the segregation of duties, the independent internal verification, and the human resource controls. For the first one, the segregation of duties, this was violated because Pasqua Suyat had control over multiple aspects of the review and payment process of bills and company expenses, as well as full control over the use of monitoring the company's business funds and her own transactions. Basically, she had full control over her duties, and they're usually split up, these duties, in between multiple employees to establish this segregation of duties. And she only had to answer to herself for auditing. So this kind of was a big violation. The next one would be the independent internal verification. And that principle was violated because no one else was internally auditing all of these payments made by the bookkeeper. And usually these would be audited and monitored on a quarterly or annual basis. The third was the human resource control. And this was violated over the 12 years that Pasqua Suyat was bookkeeping. The owner or the company didn't establish any other employees to do some of the duties that she was doing. And the article also doesn't mention if the company forced the employees to go on vacations, which if they do that, usually some of these embezzlement things will be picked up upon other employees having to do her duties or whoever the person is that's embezzling. Next, going over possible solutions. The segregation of duties, this could be improved by splitting up responsibilities within the company. A strong way, for example, to establish the segregation of duties would be having 3 different employees involved in transactions. The first employee would have access to writing checks or preparing wire transfers and other business expenses. The second employee would have authorization of approving the transactions made by the first employee, as well as recording each transaction that was made. And then they could have a third employee oversee the accounting process, reviewing all of the transactions recorded and comparing that to the company's business funds and accounts. They can do that quarterly or annually. The second possible solution involving the independent internal verification would be having the nursery establish an internal auditor or even going to an accounting firm to review transactions. Any discrepancies that the internal auditor or accounting firm finds, they could report that to a management level or the owner. And the third possible solution for human resource control would be having the company rotate the duties of the employees after a few years. And that would give someone the ability to see what she was doing in the past and kind of bring that up. Another way it could be, like we said, vacations for employees. And if they make them have mandatory vacations, this will give someone else the ability to monitor or carry out Pasqua Suyat's duties in her absence, and they could have picked up on her embezzlement. Next, we have our resources, and I just want to say thank you for tuning into our presentation. I hope you learned something, and thank you.